Okay, can you check Sushi price chart and fundamentals? Okay, I mean, fundamentals, there isn't really much to check at the moment, but we can check the price chart. Now, disclosure, I also do have some Sushi tokens. Now, I did not buy any. I just took my liquidity pool tokens that I had on Uniswap, and I just put them on there. I'm sorry, I just logged in with my MetaMask wallet, and I've been farming some, right? And that's kind of my stance when it comes to DeFi, or when it comes to yield farming. I believe it's better to just, I think it's less risk if you just earn it through yield farming as opposed to buying it on exchanges. So when it came to Yam, when it came to Sushi, when it comes to all these different DeFi pump and dumps, I don't think it makes sense to buy them on exchanges because that's how you get wrecked. So I think if you already have an asset, then just stake it in the pool, right? And then even when you do that, don't put all your entire capital at risk. I mean, when I do it, I'm only putting in like 10 to 25% maybe at the most. And that's just kind of as a test, right? But definitely be cautious. With that being said, let's see what the TS says. Yeah.
No, this is really unbelievable. When I read this story, when I saw this flying around on Twitter, I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Somebody's going to ask me, what do I think of this? Okay. So this is at a crossroads. All good trend lines normally have 3 points, right? So it looks like Sushi is bumping into some resistance here. Okay. And I don't know that I'd be paying $3 for something as controversial as this. I know that sounds strange, but I think there is a lot to like about this in the sense that, you know, there's like a flash in the pan. Wow. The panic selling. Okay. But the thing is, are people going to come in and go, oh yeah, I want to own this. Like I have polka dot level conviction about Sushi. I'm guessing no. And I'm going to apply my 2019 model to Sushi, my altcoin model, which is don't buy it when it's going up. Okay. In other words, if it dips and you want to take a shot, great. But I think if you chase something like Sushi that's controversial, it might not be the way to do it. Now, hopefully, after I said that, it doesn't go directly to $50. Okay. But don't chase stuff that's controversial and ridiculously speculative.
Yeah, I mean, well said, well said. Now, somebody in the chat is saying Sam, who's the CEO of and founder of FTX Exchange, is taking over. Yeah, so I did hear about that as well on Twitter. So it seems like the former developer has really just pieced out, sold the top, took $10 million, gave the key to now this other crypto exchange CEO to kind of now delegate ownership to him and a bunch of other people in the community. So I saw on Twitter he's taking nominations. Then the community will basically vote on who will also have access to the key. I mean, would I touch this long term? Hell no. But I mean, from a speculative trade, I mean, I'm kind of defer more to Bill with a TA, but I mean, looks like they're trying to solve the governance issues and dilemma that plagued them during their first initial launch. But I think what's going to happen in the space is somebody else is going to fork the same thing, right? Because we saw the same thing happen with like almost every project every narrative that's done well. So I would say 2 months back, we had the Amperforth narrative where Amperforth was going to be the next Bitcoin, right? But people had a problem with it being VC backed and having founder tokens and the pre-mines. So people made their own version that had no VC issuance, no pre-mine, no founder rewards, right? And that was basically Yams, right? And now we've had Sushi, which is kind of doing the same thing, right? And I think this is now becoming a trend where any good project that launches with a good narrative, anybody can just fork it and open source the code because the code is open source and create the same thing, but with better rewards and incentives that go purely to the community. And now it becomes more challenging for projects to try to defend themselves because now they really have to have good tech. But I think long term, the good projects will still win out because they have more backing, kind of as Bill mentioned earlier, they have more capital. So if we do have any corrections or even a bear market, they can weather the storm. But I think it is still pretty interesting that now anybody can just take any good project, fork it. Because same thing happened with Curve. Curve now has to compete with Swerve. Actually, great name, by the way, Swerve. Swerve Finance. They took the open source code. Actually, the code wasn't open source, but they had a roundabout way of kind of forking it and still not breaking any copyright law, apparently. But I think it's very, very interesting. Worth keeping an eye on. Actually, I have lost my train of thought already, but that probably means it's time to end the show. But with that being said, yeah, I mean, be careful out there. Don't get wrecked. Do your research. You have us. You have Token Metrics. You have Bill and I, Crypto Family. With that being said, it's been great. Stay safe and hodl on.